Thank you, Andy. All right, what we're going to do now is Karen has made a fantastic Tableau dashboard that's custom to Tableau Public. She's going to walk us through it, and this is something that is live available to you guys right now.
Yes, 2 ways to navigate to the dashboard. If you can pull up Tableau Public, you can search for me, and this is the featured workbook, so it'll be up at the top, or just type that bit.ly link, and it'll come right up. So a little bit of background before I dive right into it. I've been thinking ever since Nelson and I took over as leaders, what is it that we could do that would really improve upon ATUG, and we've talked so much today already about how far we've come as a group. And a few months ago, I just had an idea that, I don't know, it occurred to me that I'm not sure any Tableau user groups, none that I'm aware of, are actually using Tableau to visualize their data. You know? So I actually searched on Tableau Public, and while I was at Tableau Conference, I did a brain date with Tableau user group leaders. So I've asked around, and I can't find that. And I started thinking it's entirely possible for us to do this. We have a Google spreadsheet that Nelson and I are using to like plan the meetings, keep track of who's going to host, do we have a speaker lined up, what the topic's going to be. I started thinking I could just connect to that Google spreadsheet. I could create something like this, put it on Tableau Public, and perhaps that would be a helpful resource for the group. So, we'll show you how it works. Okay, I'll just start in the middle here. You're looking at this calendar. If you go to today's date, you can see, all right, we have a meeting today, and there's a little link for the meeting invite because everyone's already received that meeting invite. But the really cool part is not only are you able to view upcoming meetings, but where they're located. Because we know in advance where they're going to be. So why not share that with everybody? So if I hover over February date, okay, I can see we're meeting at Emory. And in Atlanta, it's really difficult sometimes to get to meetings. I know how that is working at Chick-fil-A. I'm on the south side. Not all the meetings are convenient. If you wanted to use something like this to plan and kind of target specific dates, perhaps that helps folks attend more meetings and encourages, just better attendance, just having that ability to plan. Also, if you hover over, okay, we'll do that. So May 14th, you see it's red, some different colors, so we need a host. If we click on this link, I want to host this meeting, here you go, just volunteer, it's that easy. Same for speaking, so if Nelson were to click on one of the dates that's upcoming, you're only going to see the link if we actually need a speaker. So if there's a null value in one of those columns for speakers, then you'll see the link interested in speaking, which will prompt you. You'll know that there's an opportunity to present for anyone that's interested. So if you have any good ideas, if you thought of a topic to present, or just want to speak, you can use this to hopefully reach out. Now, that's not all. Let's go back to 2019. Let's say you weren't able to attend the meeting in December. So that was a pretty cool meeting. It was at Norfolk Southern, and we did a recap of the Tableau conference, and we also had a panel discussion. And if you missed it, you could just click here, and you can watch it. And a big thanks to Taran, who videos all of these meetings for us, and does our YouTube channel. So this is a big nod to Taran because we wouldn't have the ability to do any of this if he didn't create all these cool videos. Let's see. Yeah, you'll also notice we have a little bit of detail in there on how many people RSVP'd, how many people checked in. The difference there is we get a lot of people that will RSVP that they're going to attend, but there's always a little bit less that actually show up. So you can kind of hover over and see meetings that are really well attended. Up at the top where it says Atlanta Tableau User Group, if you've ever wondered how to get the meeting subscriptions, the meeting invite, if you want to subscribe to get that meeting invite, that's all you got to do. I get that question from folks a lot who, for whatever reason, like aren't getting those. That's the way to do it. And then over here to the right, you've got all these links to engage with ATUG on social media. Follow us on Twitter, join the LinkedIn page, and you'll also notice that there is a new link for a Slack channel. And that was something that was mentioned in December, at December's meeting, the possibility of creating some kind of Slack channel so that people can stay in touch outside of meetings. If they need help with a biz or just have tips and tricks that they want to share, have a job that they're hiring for, if they're looking for a job. We created a Slack channel. There's several different channels like within it. I'm not really all that good with Slack, admittedly, but there's all sorts of different channels underneath that you can join. There's a second page here, helpful links. I hope they're helpful. We'll see what you guys think. So this would perhaps be particularly good if you are newer to Tableau or just want to get more engaged with the community. So these are just a few resources. Let's click on the Atlanta Tableau public leaderboard. This one here was actually built, it's that third one, Nelson. There you go. Left. There you go. So this was built by a Comcast employee, Josh Tapley. He's in Philadelphia and he leads the Visit Philly, the Philadelphia TUG. So this is kind of cool. Now when the URL action that takes you out to this link, it filters his dashboard to Atlanta. So here you're seeing all the Tableau public authors in Atlanta, and they're ranked by the number of favorites, number of views for the dashboards that they have on Tableau Public. And if you're interested in who are these people, I want to follow this person, I want to check out what they have on Tableau Public, if you click on any of those bars, it will go right to that person's Tableau Public. And perhaps that's just a better way to like get us all connected. You can follow, you can, save something as a favorite. So kind of a cool way to discover other Atlanta Tableau Public authors. Also on that page, if you go back to that helpful links thing, there you go. Okay, that virtual challenges and community initiatives. A lot of you know about Makeover Monday, Workout Wednesday, but here's a link, and this is actually a really cool site where they kind of provide details like what are all these things, how to get started, podcasts. So a lot of useful information, and feel free to share all of this if this would be useful on like an internal Tableau user group at your company. This is just on Tableau Public, so just take it, use it, share it with anybody. Also, I'm trying to think if there's anything else on that links page. Okay, this is just kind of cool. If you're using Twitter to follow anything Tableau related, you can actually follow groups. So there's a group for Zen Masters, and there's a group for Tableau Ambassadors, and it's a really cool way to like get everything in your feed Tableau related from people that are experts and know what they're talking about. So the Tableau keeps it up to date, and that's just one little tip, and it's a link on there. I don't know if there's anything else on here other than at the very bottom. If you have any feedbacks or suggestions, you just click that and it'll type up an email. We just send it to us. If you want to know how to do any of that, some of you probably already know, maybe use some of these little hacks or whatever in a dashboard at work, but if any of this would be useful, you can also download the whole thing and figure it all out. I have a few dashboards at work with those types of URL links that pass through like a value into an email. And so that's something that could potentially be useful even at work. So feel free to download this workbook if that would help you out. Anna's got a question?
Actually, it's a statement. 8 people said they'll sign up for February. I have it in writing.
Oh, awesome. That is excellent. Thanks, Andy, if you can still hear me. If you can see me, this is how we dress for our meetings. Okay. All right, what's up next?
Awesome. So as Karen mentioned to you, one of the cool things that we have instituted since our last meeting is the ATUG Slack channel. So as we mentioned a minute ago, you can go and basically hit this QR. So if you want to go apply right now, we'll leave that on the screen for just a few seconds here. And that will allow you to sign in with your email address and do Slack right there. Obviously, one thing that we would like to say to you is a disclaimer that this is an open forum with open groups. We have administrators, but they're not moderators. And we're not held liable for anything that you say or that you post. And my advice to my boys is the same I give to you, which is if you wouldn't say it in front of your mama, don't say it here, right? All right, so hopefully that makes good sense. And I feel especially compelled to say that during an election year. I'll just say that. Okay, so one of the things that we have mentioned, obviously, is just the leadership that we've had the great privilege of working with. And,
Hey Nelson, if you want me to run that, you can come up here.
Okay, cool.
Keep talking.
So as we thought about how to award and thank different subsets of people that we're going to walk through here next, we thought what better way to do it than to use visualization in some form or fashion. So this is just a quick Gantt chart. Dates are approximate because who really knows? None of us really remember. But obviously a big thanks for the original 6 founders who carried it forward for that initial kind of 6 months, year, and so forth. Karen hit the next one. Obviously from there, Andy Piper and John Hoover, again, Batman, Robin, not sure who's who, but these guys really took over and drove ATUG for a really long time. Following them and in tandem with them, go to the next one for me, was Paul Lisford. Paul was a little bit of an unsung hero. Paul was around really from the early days, was a constant contributor. You'll see just how constant a contributor he was in just a second. But actually took over first in tandem with Andy and John, and then actually carried the mantle for a while. And I believe I saw Paul just walking in the door. Paul, where he at? There he is. Paul, stand up real quick for us. So as you can see here, Paul, and again, dates are approximate, not really sure on all these different things, but Paul has been a good friend of mine. I was actually telling my wife a story that when I first thought about becoming a consultant, I was at the 2013 Tableau conference in DC. I told Paul about it, and Paul said, "You'll be great at that." I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if I can pull this stuff off, right? He's like, "You'll be great." And so I just always remember him as being a huge encouragement for me, as somebody who kind of said, "Hey, go try this thing," right? And then last but certainly not least, the talented Karen Hinson and this guy right here. So short bar there, but hopefully long into the future with you guys. And so, man, this is another piece of this, right? So again, thinking about all the different ways that this group has come together. We've had tons and tons of meetings, and inside of each of those meetings, typically we have 2, maybe 1 presentation. These are still a bit of a word cloud of all the different presentations that we've done together over the last many years, 10 years. I will say that, unfortunately, we have a data set. It's probably not complete. We do need to probably go back and archive and pull up some old emails and see kind of what's going on there. But again, we want to be creative about doing some awarding here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use and log into and ask data of that data set. And what we're going to do is we're going to thank our hosts. And so who's used Ask Data before? Who's done it live in front of 300 people? Okay. I just had my hand up. So all right. So what we're going to do is just say how many different hosts. And just like that, Ask Data is going to tell us that we've actually had 23 different locations throughout the city that have hosted a Tableau user group. So just for the diversity of that, let's give a quick round of applause. I think that's pretty cool. So the next question, of course, is who has hosted, the most meetings? And of course, if you guessed, it would be Norfolk Southern. You are spot on, right? But here's everybody else who has done it as well, right? So Emory has hosted 8 times, Georgia Pacific coming in third place with 6 times, Novellus a handful of times, then a handful of places, at least 2. And again, I know we're missing some of the hosts in there. So certainly
And
great.
Nelson, we have a special swag bag
Oh, yes.
for Hamid from Emory, who shows up on this list. They're second behind Norfolk Southern, but he is not here today, so I'll save that for him for the next meet.
Awesome. And then we've awarded our friends from Norfolk Southern anyway, so we'll kind of keep heading on. So quick word cloud on who all has hosted. Again, great to see just the amount of diversity all over this. So another cool one, right? We've just showed you the 120 plus presentations. And what we want to show you now is a quick chart that we built yesterday to put all this together and to give a sense. Before we do this, one of the things, again, using Tableau to do some of the awarding here, who's aware that in the new version, so right now what you're looking at is Tableau 2020.1 that has animation. So we're going to do something cool called a racing chart. Has anybody seen a racing chart on LinkedIn or something like that? And like, oh, that's a really cool data that is, right? The cool thing about racing charts is it actually gives you a sense of what's happening over time. The first time I saw a racing chart was when it was talking about brand equity and looking at different brands, major brands over the last maybe 15 years. And I just thought it was fascinating. And so it was really fun to be able to put this together. So just going to go ahead and play this. And so what you're looking at, I'm going to speed it up. What you're looking at is over time. So the date is down there in that bottom right-hand corner. And you can see the number of presentations that different people have given over time. You're seeing the leaderboard kind of change in dynamic fashion. You're seeing things grow and shift and move and all sorts of stuff. The numbers count different and all sorts of cool things and whatnot.
Go, Paul, go!
Go, Paul, go! Down the stretch they come. Oh, heavy neck. Oh. I have ears, you know. Hey, so for everybody though who's on this leaderboard, but anybody that's ever presented at an ATUG, at this moment, we'd love to have you just stand really quickly to be acknowledged, whether you presented 1 time or 15 times. Just want to thank you for your contribution.